And welcome to the United stand. Jose Mourinho has finally agreed with Manchester United fans in relation to the future of Manchester United. We hope. He's come out and said after the game against Bournemouth that United lack consistency. This is the very thing we were talking about 2 days ago, that United is just not consistent in any way, shape or form. And Jose Mourinho coming out and saying that he needs that consistency from these players. And hopefully, look, I do back Mourinho. I know that sometimes feel like, it's just self-punishment really doing it. But I do feel that since the Sevilla game, there has been steps forward. And it's always been hard to know how big those steps are. And I think at this stage, I think they're just tiny steps. I think they are tiny steps, but they are definitely steps forward, because Sevilla was very conservative, very negative, and I think we've seen a change away from that, Jose. It's taking time, but he talks about too many touches on the ball. He wants players to move it quickly. He was very positive after the game yesterday as well. Didn't throw anybody under the bus, spoke very positively about everybody, even said Pogba was brilliant. So the player's obviously doing what he wants to do, and we did move the ball in the main very quickly against Bournemouth. It was only Bournemouth. And what I would say is that Mourinho talking about consistency, last night was perfect. We got a bit of positivity from Jose in his demeanour, in the way he was after the game. Very positive. A lot of people have been moaning about that, how negative he is. So that was really good. We also got the selections that we wanted to see. I mean, Alexis Sanchez didn't get a minute, which is great. And we got Rashford on for 90 minutes, Martial on for 90 minutes, Pogba started, Herrera started. So Luke Shaw got 90 minutes. So lots of things that fans over the season have wanted were delivered by Jose last night. Now, whether that's lip service and it's all part of the ploy because he already knows what he's doing on Saturday, whether it is or it isn't, he still did it. I still think Mourinho is obsessed with second place. He's obsessed with the top four. So those people who call that Bournemouth game a throwaway game, an easy game to just please the fans, we're away to Bournemouth. They played quite well. We could have lost that if we played like we did against West Brom. He played different players and they did well. As a team, they did very well. Collectively, they did really well. What I would... Coming back on the consistency though, I put a tweet out last night saying Martial and Luke Shaw, very rusty performance down that left-hand side, but I think that could be the start of something really, really good. I don't think we'll ever see the end of it. I don't think we'll probably see it again, because I think Mourinho's made his mind up on those two. But watching them play together, very, very rusty. Wouldn't give either of them really average sort of 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. So not bad performances, not excellent, but good. But consistency is the key there. You cannot... If you played Luke Shaw and Martial for the next 5 games, I think you'd see a fantastic Paul Pogba. And I don't... That's on that. I see. You thought I was going to go off on Martial and Luke Shaw, didn't you? No, you'd see a fantastic Paul Pogba, because what Shaw does, he bombs on naturally with the left foot, and he can use his left foot, unlike Ashley Young, who's always cutting inside. Very easy to say, well, last night proved one thing that we've mentioned a lot on the United stand, that when it comes to Alexis Sanchez, he gets in Paul Pogba's way. Paul Pogba wants to go further forward and Alexis Sanchez comes into that space and it nullifies Pogba's game. 100% that's true. But let's not just leave it all on Sanchez. What about Ashley Young? Terrible defender, actually quite good going forward. What does Ashley Young like to do? Ashley Young likes to come inside on his right foot as well. So Pogba, one of the best left-sided attacking midfielders in world football, has 2 players on the left-hand side who both want to come into his space. You put Luke Shaw, you put Martial there. They just, Martial's right-footed, but he doesn't want to come inside. He just hugs the touchline. Luke Shaw's left-footed. Of course, he wants to hug that touchline. And I think consistency of those two together, you get the best out of Paul Pogba. But those 3 players, we don't know whether they're going to be here in the summer. And I don't want us to be bandwagon flip-flop fans, because we were sell Pogba. Sell Pogba on Sunday after that performance, and then this morning we're like, he's world class, don't sell Pogba. The truth will be somewhere in between, and the truth won't be his who decide it will be Mourinho. And Pogba did very, very well last night, but it's all about Saturday. I can't wait for that game on Saturday. I think we're going to win, but I can't wait for it, and that is where you can judge these players. I think it's unfair to judge them after West Brom. Yes, they were rubbish. It's unfair to judge them after Bournemouth. Yes, they were good. Let's do it in a real game where there's no place to hide, in an FA Cup semi-final, and let's see what happens. But it is that consistency that Jose mentioned, that the fans mentioned, that's really, really important. And we never see that consistency. And he picks the team. So why? Consistency of performance can only come from consistency of selection. Football last night, I think Rashford, Martial, Luke Shaw, Darmian, Phil Jones, Fellaini, they all collectively they did well, but they were all very rusty. Why were they rusty? Because none of them have played very much football for the last 6 weeks. You can't... It was always going to be mission impossible, I think, for Rashford or Martial to get on that pitch and score a hat-trick last night and force their way into the FA Cup. It's like Flex said on his fan cam, he wasn't fooled by what Mourinho did. It was mission impossible for certain players to get themselves into the team, despite Jose saying, well, if they put in a world-class performance, they'll get in. How can you expect Martial or Rashford to put in a world-class performance when they're not getting enough minutes? They looked full of effort. They looked like they were trying things, but with Martial, he'd skip past 4 players and then his final ball had let him down. With Rashford, he couldn't cross his legs. They had good performances, but neither of them are anywhere near their best performances because they're just not sharp. And it's not FIFA. You can't just chuck a player in and go, yeah, come on, let's get going. These are real human beings who haven't played a lot of football recently, so they cannot give that top level. So Mourinho, in many ways, was on a winner with that. He knew that they were going to probably play well enough for him to win a game and get 3 points. But he would have known they're not going to do enough to get into his team because they just haven't got the match sharpness. And match sharpness is huge. Wayne Rooney, one of the best players Manchester United have had in the last 30 years. We always know that when Rooney hadn't played, it would take him a little bit of time to get back to his best. And I think consistency is great and consistency is right. And we've spoken about consistency, but Mourinho must provide that consistency in his team selections. And we know on Saturday, it pains me to say it, I would love to see, look, go and watch old clips of Paul Pogba for Juventus and look at the goals he scores, look at the assists he got, look at what he's doing and his best bits, not just the goals and the assists, his best bits. And what you'll see is Paul Pogba right around the edge of the Juventus box that they're attacking, moving the ball quickly, sprinting, a bit like he was in the second half against Bournemouth last night. Yes, the Italian league is slower, but it's not because the Italian league's slow that Pogba's not doing the things he wasn't doing in Italy. I mean, he might not be as good as a player he was in Italy because it is a bit quicker in the Premier League, but it's not the slower league in Italy that's stopping Pogba being more expressive in his attacking side of the game. That's the manager and that's the tactics and that's the people he puts around him. Pogba doesn't get into the areas where he will cause teams problems. He did yesterday because he's got Martial and Shaw who will just furrow that left-hand side and they won't encroach on him. He's got he's got Rashford and Lingard who know how to play with him as well. He's got Herrera conducting things and he's got Fellaini who's got no flair and no intention of trying to run into Pogba's space with the ball. That's not his game at all. So Pogba had the freedom to do what he wants to do yesterday. You bring Alexis Sanchez back into that on the left-hand side and it nullifies it 100%. I don't think Alexis Sanchez should be anywhere near the team on Saturday. I think he should be off the bench and I would play Rashford or Martial on the left to give Pogba that freedom. But I don't think we'll see that. I think we'll go back to what we saw last weekend. And I would urge Jose Mourinho, and I would either play Alexis Sanchez on the right midfield or I would bench him. I think it's so important. We've got to get the best out of Paul Pogba. Against Spurs, Dembele tends to have a very good game against Pogba, and Pogba can be very quiet against Spurs, as we saw he got subbed off at Wembley in January. So we need, if Pogba's going to play, I mean, that would be madness not to. I mean, I think if it was no midweek game after the West Brom game, you'd say, yeah, don't play Pogba. But no, he's got to play, and if Pogba's going to play, you've got to get the best out of him. I mean, I was going to do the preview today on this show, but I'm going to do it at 8 o'clock tonight because it's such a big show to do the preview, and there was a lot I wanted to discuss from last night. I mean, it wasn't the perfect performance from Manchester United by any means. Let's have a quick look at this actually, just so I can demonstrate it. That's more or less how we set out in the first half, and obviously Herrera in that position was just everywhere. He was fantastic. I think Darmian was out of position a lot, and it was Herrera pulling in there and covering him, and he was covering Phil Jones a lot as well. There was a lot of that going on. You had these two just going up and down there, which lets Pogba move into this big square of space here. It's a massive square of space that Pogba wants to go into, and he can do that because Martial and Luke Shaw are just going to go into that area. Lingard was moving around a bit, but not really encroaching on that. Fellaini only wanted to get there when there was a long ball to get on the end of, and Rashford played that line up there. Well, just very quickly on Marcus Rashford, I felt a bit sorry for Marcus Rashford because Yeah, Lukaku came on and he scored a really good goal, but we all know about Lukaku already. We know what Lukaku is, and him coming on and scoring a goal like that, it doesn't really teach us anything, and I think it happened too soon. Marcus Rashford needs to play up front, and I wanted to see Marcus Rashford playing for 90 minutes up front, and we're going back to that consistency again. I was very happy that Martial and Rashford got 90 minutes, but I was very disappointed that Rashford didn't get 90 minutes up front. He's not getting opportunities up front, and even in a game where we don't need to bring Lukaku on, Lukaku's going to play at the weekend, I totally agree. Lukaku's having a great season, but why did he need to come on yesterday? Why did Rashford only get about 60, 70 minutes up front? Why can't he have the last 20 minutes when it's stretched and it's tired, and maybe Rashford scores that goal? So I didn't agree with that, and it goes against Jose's consistency there, because yeah, you're consistently picking Lukaku up front, but if Lukaku gets injured, you're going to get a rusty Rashford up front. Give him a full 90 minutes. I thought that was a little disappointing. Obviously Rashford stayed on, he went on the right, but is he a right-sided player? You know, is Martial a right-sided player? No, they're not, and that bothered me a little bit, but. There was some bad aspects of the game. I mean, what we did see a lot from De Gea when he was getting the ball is that ball there, the long ball to Fellaini, and you know it's effective, but is it what we want to see? I'd much rather see him passing it out there, but we didn't really have the centre backs for that. So, and as soon as Fellaini's on the pitch, you know what you're going to get. As I said yesterday, bit disappointed unless we're in for a real shock on Saturday, which would be wrong now anyway. I mean, where was Scott McTominay in short yesterday? He's had a good season. He's worked his way into the team. I much prefer him to Fellaini. Fellaini hasn't even signed the new contract. It's a game for somebody to shine and get themselves involved in the FA Cup semi-final, and McTominay doesn't even make the bench. I felt McTominay deserved to play yesterday, and he was nowhere to be seen. He can't play on Saturday now because Herrera was brilliant. Matic is going to start because Mourinho's already said it, and Pogba's got to play. So that has to be his midfield three. If he doesn't go with Herrera, Matic and Pogba, there's going to be scenes. There's going to be meltdowns because he's got to play Herrera. You can't not play Herrera after yesterday. Matic plays, and why would you not play Pogba? So McTominay's not going to get his chance, and I felt that was a bit unlucky. I was impressed with Phil Jones as well. I thought Phil Jones played well. The only thing about Phil Jones is what I always say is, I think for the last 5 years he's not played 50% of the season. So I think Phil Jones is just a frustrator because he gives it all. He can put really good blocks in, but actually I'd rather just sell him because if he's not going to be able to be a consistent option for us and he's only around every now and again, it's sort of like it's not what you need. You need somebody who's around there every week. Smalling scored again as well, which was good. But no, I mean, all in all, I totally agree with Jose. Consistency is really important, but I think it still comes down to, is he picking the right players? And I don't like that left-hand side of Ashley Young and Alexis Sanchez. Yes, it's very experienced, but I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I really did yesterday. I really did enjoy the left-sided United. And I mean, it's hard to enjoy the right hand side because Darmian doesn't offer anything, but I really did enjoy that left hand side. And I think I'm not impatient. I think some fans are like, I heard people saying last night that Lingard was crap, that Martial was crap, that Rashford was crap. It wasn't one person saying this. A lot of people had different opinions on last night. And the reality is nobody was crap last night. I thought Darmian was poor, but apart from that, nobody was crap last night. I just don't think anybody apart from Pogba and Herrera was excellent. Nobody was crap, and sometimes just being okay is fine. I mean, why is a 6 out of 10 performance something to moan about? It's 6 out of 10 is average. I mean, of course we want better than average, but I don't think anybody was below average yesterday. Maybe Darmian. So I don't know what people are moaning about. I mean, what do people expect Lingard to do? Score 2 worldies every game. Rashford's got to score every game. Martial's got to score a hat-trick. It's not really about... That wasn't about that yesterday. It was about consistency in the performance, which I think we got from those players in that game. He gave them 90 minutes, most of them. They were all very rusty, and that's on Mourinho's shoulders. Rashford, Martial, Shaw, they're very rusty, and it's unfair on those players to expect them to turn up and be on it when they're not playing. I don't think Martial's played hardly at all in the last month. Same for Rashford. So... You got to give him that leeway. But what I thought especially with Rashford and Martial, I think if they were playing regularly, they would just get better and better and better. But I don't see that happening because I think his front three on Saturday will probably be Sanchez, Lukaku, and either Mata or Lingard. So I don't think Rashford or Martial even start in that game. But if he wants the best out of Pogba, he's got to start Rashford or Martial and put him on the left and put Sanchez nowhere near there. Danny Smith, it was always going to take time for Mourinho to bring us back from the horrible situation we was in from Van Gaal and Moyes. We have to back Mourinho. He will get us back to competing on all fronts. Thanks for that contribution, Danny. I do feel that it's there is steady progress. Obviously, that's reflected in where we are in the league. What I just want to say is, though, there is a myth going round. Any other league, any other season, we'd be challenging for the league. It's only because Man City have been so dominant. After 34 games last season, we would have been third with 74 points. Spurs had 77 and Chelsea had 81. So we would have been third last year. So there is a bit of a myth sort of being driven out there. And I backed Jose and I backed Manchester United. And let's not forget, we were 6th last year. But what we should be talking about is the progress of United, not any other year we'd have been in a title race. Because we wouldn't. Last year we wouldn't have been in a title race. And we're nowhere near a title race this year. And I think that is a very blunt bottom line we need to take on board. We are nowhere near a title race. And that's part of the progression that Jose's trying to implement. And I don't think Mourinho's not saying we're in a title race or we would have been in a title race. It would have been a little bit closer, but the progress is definitely there. 6th to 2nd. But it's the quality of the football that pleased me a lot last night as well. I think we're getting gradually better and better. But yes, what Mata was shocking against West Brom, Gio. The reality is, we'll be talking about this on the preview tonight, but do you trust Mourinho when he says, I don't know who's playing on Saturday apart from Matic and Valencia? Do you trust that? Or do you actually think I'm convinced Alexis Sanchez is starting on Saturday, and that's why he didn't come on yesterday, because he already knew that. I also think with Pogba and Herrera coming off, they got themselves starting. They came off early, and I think Lingard came off early as well, so he's probably got a good chance. But I'll do my predicted lineup later. But I am absolutely convinced Alexis Sanchez starts, which goes against what Jose said after the game, which was there's certain players who won't play on Saturday now because of that performance. The only one I think who's in danger of that is Mata. But I wouldn't play Sanchez. I think Sanchez needs more than a bench against Bournemouth. I think Sanchez needs to be on the bench again in the FA Cup. I'm sure he'll get on, and he could be really important to bring on, but I wouldn't play him. And the biggest reason I wouldn't play him is I liked what I saw from Pogba yesterday, and it's been mentioned on this channel so many times, and it's going around everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Pogba plays better without Sanchez, and I think that is going to be far more important for us against Spurs. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a I nearly said something rude there. Please drop a like on the video. We're live tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm hoping to get Sophie on and Flex for the preview and all your thoughts as well. Drop us a like on the way out. We're closing in on 215,000 subscribers. So if you can like and share the video on your way out, hopefully we can do that on the show tonight. It'd be a big thing to hit, especially before the weekend. So subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Drop us a like on the video. Join us for the preview tonight at 8 PM UK time, and I'll speak to you all soon. Oh, very quickly, Ryan Price, you won the 250 quid through BetBull. We've sent you the email, but well done to you. Hopefully we can get a couple of more of those giveaways over the weekend as well. But well done to Ryan Price. 8 o'clock tonight, everyone. Drop a like on the way out and share the video, please. Let's get that subscriber 215k. Would be great. See you all soon.